dragon's heavy breathing and the noise of claws being sharpened, which sounded just like blades slicing against each other. It must be safe to start the teeth cleaning again. Surely. Taking a deep breath, Billy moved further back in the dragon's mouth, regretting that he'd ever offered to be in charge of teeth. With a small blade, he started picking at a piece of bone stuck behind a back tooth, careful not to stab the dragon in his gums. Billy had learned the hard way that their gums were surprisingly sensitive.
"Your beard is looking particularly nice and shiny today," said a soft, musical voice. It was Ling-Fei, who was responsible for scale shining, mane brushing, and whisker maintenance. Ling-Fei had grown up in the mountains of China, near where Camp Dragon had been. The four friends had met there, though it now felt like a lifetime ago. Ling-Fei was always happy to offer a kind word to a dragon or a human. This was usually a quality Billy appreciated in her, but not right at this moment. As long as the dragon didn't reply, and he probably wouldn't, Billy would be fine. Most of the dragons they worked with barely acknowledged them, let alone responded to their praise.
"Thank you,"
rumbled the dragon, clearly pleased with the compliment. Billy groaned as a glob of dragon spit hit him in the face.
"Guys!"
"Sorry," said Ling-Fei, before letting out a quiet giggle.
"Although that wasn't a question, it was a compliment."
Billy rolled his eyes as he listened to his three friends chatting as they continued grooming the dragon. Easy for them. They weren't inside his mouth. But still, Billy knew how lucky they all were. To be alive and to be together. They had each other, and Billy clung to that whenever he found himself feeling sad or scared when he heard the roars of dragons and the screams of humans. Everything had changed. After Billy's dragon, Spark, had betrayed them and joined the Dragon of Death, giving her the 8 pearls she needed to choose her own destiny, the world around them had disappeared. When it had come back, it was completely different. Billy, Ling-Fei, Charlotte, and Dylan had woken in a dark and distant future. One where the Dragon of Death ruled with a fearsome and terrible might. One where somehow she had been ruling for years and years already, even though it felt like only moments had passed between their lives in the past, in the Dragon Realm, and this version of the future, where there was no Dragon Realm and Human Realm, only Dragon City and the void beyond. Both the Dragon and the Human Realms had been decimated and devoured by the Dragon of Death and the Noxious and their never-ending quest for power, leaving Dragon City as the only habitable place for dragons and humans. But at least Billy and his friends had been together, and they still had their memories of their lives before. And even though they had been separated from their dragons, they had heard them when they had first arrived in Dragon City, and had found themselves in chains in an unfamiliar and terrifying cityscape. Knowing that their dragons were alive had given them hope, because the dragons were more than just friends. Deep in Dragon Mountain, the 4 children had each heart bonded with a dragon, connecting them forever. Dylan had bonded with Buttons, a healer dragon who cared deeply for humans. Ling-Fei's dragon was Xing, a dragon with the ability to seek out magic and power, and whose tough exterior hid a kind heart. The fierce warrior dragon, Tank, was Charlotte's heart-bonded dragon, and the 2 of them together could take on almost any opponent. As for Billy, he didn't like thinking about his dragon, Spark, with her electricity powers and ability to see into the future. He had trusted her more than anyone, and she'd let him down. Despite everything, part of him hoped that they were still connected through the heart bond. But when he tried to reach down their bond, there was nothing. It made him feel empty inside, like something was missing. Even though they had been separated from their dragons, they weren't alone in the terrifying world.